Hi, my name is Elizabeth Wagner. I'm a hand weaver and a textile designer. Welcome to my channel, Illumination. In my last video, we got to the point on our weaving project that we actually wove the header into the scarf that we're making on our floor loom. So here's the header right here. It's just some scrap yarn that I weave into the very beginning of each project, and it helps to get all of the warp ends spaced evenly apart. We've got this header in place, and it looks like we're at a point where we can just go ahead and start our regular weft in the project, the beginning of the actual piece. And this is the weft yarn that I'm using. And I wanted to show you how I crank or advance the warp forward. Right now the warp is not very tight, it's just relaxed. And I want to make it tighter so that we can weave, so that there's more tension on the warp. It doesn't have to be super tight or taut, but it needs to be relatively taut so that the weft thread can go easily back and forth through it. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to crank forward the warp using this handle. You might have a different looking device on yours, but it probably works pretty similar to this. And that will just make the warp tight. Now you can see that it's tighter. And you really don't have to have it too tight, but it does have to be relatively firm so that you can get your weft thread through. So since we tied up the treadles at the bottom, we will now, when pressing on the treadle all the way on the left that we tied up to harness 1 and 3, when we press on that treadle, these two harnesses right here, up here, will be going up, being picked up. And if I press on the treadle all the way on the right, which is the treadle that we connected to my harness 2 and 4, those two harnesses will be lifting up. And that action is going to create the shed that we're throwing our shuttle through. So, because we're doing plain weave, it really doesn't matter which one we start with because it's a balanced weave. That means that there are the same number of warp ends in the 1 and 3 harnesses as there are in the 2 and 4 harnesses. So I'm going to press on the treadle on the left, picking up harness 1 and 3, and I'm going to pass my shuttle through the shed and pull it out the other side. I'm just going to leave this little tail here because when I'm done with this project, I'll probably just want to incorporate this either in the fringe or trim it off later after I figure out what I want to do with it. So I'll just leave that. And now I'm going to pull the beater towards me and just snug it a little bit. You don't have to beat it really super hard. And usually what I do is press on the other treadle as I'm pushing the beater back. So now my foot's on the right hand side treadle and it's picking up the other harnesses 2 and 4, and I'm going to put the shuttle back through from the right side to the left side. This time I want to just get it up to the edge of the yarn here, the selvage. Do not pull it all the way in like this tightly because it's going to start to draw the piece in, and you want to keep a nice, even, straight selvage, not a selvage that's angling in because the yarn is drawing in. So this is where I'm going to just let my weft lie, and I'm going to pull this back This is the beater. And again, at the same time, I'm going to press on 1 and 3, or my first treadle, which is attached to my harness 1 and 3. And I'm going to put my shuttle through the shed again. And the same thing on this side. I'm just going to let it lie on the side without pulling it in really tight. That's too tight right there. Because after a while, if you pull everything in like that, again, it's going to start to pull the sides of your piece in. Once you finish and wash your piece out, wash the piece, it's going to draw in naturally anyway. So don't pull real tight on the sides when you're weaving. Try not to leave a big loop, but don't pull in real tight on the sides either. So now I'm pressing on the right treadle to lift 2 and 4 harness, and I'm going to pass it through again. And so I'm just going to do that back and forth, 1 and 3, push the beater back, put the shuttle through the shed, pull the beater forward, take your foot off the treadle, press the right treadle, and put the shuttle through. Pull the beater forward, press the right treadle, put the beater back, and just keep going back and forth. Not too tight with the weft, but not too loose. And you'll notice that I'm really not pounding the weft into place. If you want fabric that's really dense and really tight, you can do that. But I know that when I wash this, all this yarn that's actually wool is going to draw in, and it's going to puff up a little bit, because the fiber on the wool yarn will normally shrink so it's shorter and plump out so it's fatter once it's washed. So I'm going to keep going like this, right to left and left to right, alternating my left hand treadle and my right hand treadle. So that would alternate picking up the harness 1 and 3, and then the harness 2 and 4. And that's how I'm getting my plain weave. And every other warp end is being lifted on the loom as you do that, because of the way you have the warp threaded, or the way we threaded the warp together through the headers. So you can see I'm just, see, this is a little bit too loopy right here. I don't want that loop like that. So it's not uncommon when you see something that you're not happy with to unweave it. So just go back through and then press on the treadle, and you can fix it a little bit. So this is a little chunky yarn, so you have to kind of watch it that you don't wind up with big loops on the side, and then beat it back into place again. So just keep going back and forth like that. Take your time and enjoy the process, and after a while you'll start to see your piece develop. You can beat it loose if you want it more open. You could beat it tight if you want it really dense and thick. And you can practice doing both, or doing whatever you want. You can always unweave portions if you don't like it. So in my next video, I hope that you're going to be to a point where you're almost done going back and forth like this on your scarf. And please write to me if you have any questions, and I'll continue weaving and you continue weaving, and then we'll see where we get. Thanks for watching.